Welcome back to Laura's Holistic Kitchen. Today we are making a bone broth. It is literally liquid gold. There's so many healing benefits behind bone broth, and I like to look at it as like it's the OG health food. Back in the day, the ancestors, let's take it back to the hunter and gatherer days. They didn't want to waste anything. They didn't want to waste any part of the animal, which I completely resonate with. And what would they do with all the bones after they ate the meat? They would make a fantastic bone broth, which is so full of benefits and collagen and things that are healing from the body. They even were the ones who invented a bowl. And a little fun fact is that gourds, they're not really tasty to eat, but they would use them as bowls. And so they would cut off the top, and then there you have it, nature's made bowl. And making this bone broth, they would just let simmer for days, and it's so healing. And no wonder why they didn't have any sicknesses back then that we have nowadays. So I don't like to waste anything, and it's something that I've learned how to make. And I often will get my meat at a regenerative farm. So I'll go to the farmer's market and buy you can use different products. Like you can use beef, you can use chicken, you can use pork, you can use fish. I tend to go with beef and chicken. One of the chicken products is chicken feet. I know they're not so pretty and they're kind of funny looking, but I don't want to waste anything. Like I feel like a lot of Americans, they just toss those in the trash, and that's not the way to be. So chicken feet. And then as far as beef, I love using bone marrow. If you know what bone marrow is, it's so full of that liquid collagen in the middle there. So I love my bone marrow. Other parts that you can use are going to be knuckles. I'm using beef neck today, and I'm going to see how that goes. It's kind of an experiment because I haven't used that before. It's a little bit more meaty, but I will pull off the meat once I boil it down, and I will use that for something else. So I do strain all the things, and I let simmer for 24 hours, like 16 to 24 hours. It depends on your day. It depends on your schedule, but it's something really easy to do, to throw in the crock pot and let simmer all day, and it's going to be ready, by evening or by the next morning. So I do add a lot of veggies, and I would say the staples are going to be celery, carrots, onion, garlic, and salt. I also will use apple cider vinegar or lemon. And the reason for that is because it pulls out the collagen. Apple cider vinegar or lemon is known as like a detoxer, and it pulls the nutrients. So it actually breaks down the collagen. So that way you're going to have this gelatinous product at the end of the day. And when you refrigerate it, it gets very gelatinous. It's very gelatin, but the gelatin is what heals your gut. So I say the gelatin is like the secret ingredient, and it actually calms the fire. If you have any inflammation, if you have issues with bloating, digestion, leaky gut, gelatin is where you're going to help heal. There's 3 fun facts about bone broth, and I would say that it heals your gut. It calms the flame, the fire, the internal flame, and it's also a fat burner. It's a natural fat burner. So there's just so many benefits to this liquid gold. And I like to add, there's also other ingredients that you can add that are not necessary, but it just depends on your liking. It depends on your flavor profile. I add turmeric. Turmeric's really good on cutting down the inflammation in your body. So I'll add a dash of turmeric. I'll add a bay leaf. That's for flavor, and there's also benefits in the bay leaf too. But another secret ingredient that I use is lemongrass. So lemongrass isn't always often found in like normal grocery stores. I go to the Asian market and I will find this. It's one of the most underrated plants out there that has so many benefits that I had to write down like how many there were. And there was like endless benefits for lemongrass. It does have like a lemon grassy flavor. So if you don't like that, don't use it. But I always say follow your gut, and lemongrass is just like It's just it's so good. It doesn't really smell through here, but once you open it and cut it, you're going to get all like the aromatics. But I wrote down a list and I just want to read them over because I didn't want to miss anything. But anxiety, antioxidants, anti-inflammation. It helps with pain like arthritis, infections, lowers your cholesterol, and weight loss, fever, digestion, and diabetes. So that is just like powerful on lemongrass and what lemongrass can do for you. If you're gonna add some salt, some people make bone broth with or without salt. And once again, do it your way. Don't always, quote me. But I love the Celtic sea salt. So this is one of my favorite salts. It's going to be lesser on the heavy metals than some of the other salts out there. And it has a really good reputation. And I've done a little research on my salts, and this is the one I gravitate to most. I know in the classes that I teach with the kids, they call it the wet salt because it does have a tendency to look kind of wet, or gray salt. Gray. It has like a gray hue to it. So that is just a little fun fact about the Celtic sea salt. So that is a great one. And so we're gonna roast the meat, whatever meat of your liking, of your choice. We're gonna roast it in the oven for about 30 minutes. I have my oven set to 425. So 425 for 30 minutes. It kind of just brings out the meat flavor. You're going to get a better roasting taste on your bone broth. There's no wrong way to do it. You can stick these straight into the crock pot and let them boil. But we all know like boiled meat is not probably the best flavor. So roasting it is going to bring out those aromas. And I really don't even add anything to this meat. I just pop them right into the oven for 30 minutes. And then when we take them out, that's when we're going to throw all of our other ingredients into the crock pot. So stay tuned. So a question that I often get asked is, can I use a rotisserie chicken? And the short answer is yes, you can, but know where it came from. Like, was it pumped with antibiotics and hormones? Like, it's probably not going to make the best bone broth. So I don't like to use the rotisserie chicken because number one, it's going to be pumped unless it's organic. And I would rather just eat that chicken meat if it's an organic chicken, and then maybe use the bones afterwards. But you're going to get the most collagen from anything from knuckles, joints, feet, that part of the chicken or the cow. So that's kind of why I'm partial to using those meat parts like bone marrow, knuckles, neck, chicken feet, instead of a whole rotisserie chicken. But once again, use your intuition and follow your gut and do as you wish. Everything today is about convenience. And I feel like that's where we kind of lost our direct connection with nature on how to heal your body. So it kind of severs that, right? And so have you heard of bouillon? Like they make chicken bouillon, beef bouillon. You'll see that in the store. Well, that's when they added all these chemicals, all the nasty MSG, which is monosodium glutamate. I can't even say it. It's a tongue twister, but it's just not good for you. So I would rather take more time preparing my food in the kitchen and not take those shortcuts to keep my body healthy than just a matter of convenience. You can make your own chicken bouillon. That is one way to do it. But when you're adding that MSG, I know they use it a lot in the Asian dishes, which is, it's just not my favorite. Like I'm gonna say no. So yeah, so don't use bouillon, go straight to the source, take a little bit more time in the kitchen. Okay, so I have taken my protein out of the oven. It is definitely hot, not cooked all the way through, which is perfectly fine. And as I mentioned before, that you roast your protein to just get more flavor. You're just gonna get a more robust flavor. So I'm gonna place my chicken feet that are slightly roasted into my crock pot. And there they go in. And then I'm going to add, what I have here is bone marrow and beef neck. So it is my first time using beef neck into my bone broth. but I thought it might be kind of fun. Woo! There goes yeah. It happens. It happens to the best of us. Let's throw that bad boy in there. I almost feel like I need a bigger crock pot. So I think we have enough room for some of our other ingredients, and I like to make it as easy as possible. I'm not going to even shred my carrots. I'm just going to break them right in. There's no need to peel them. Just make sure that they're washed. And then I'm going to add some celery. Once again, just like a handful. It really depends on how much flavor you like. I'm adding a half an onion. You can add a whole onion, but I just prefer maybe mild on the onion flavor. And if, as I mentioned before, that I don't like to waste anything. You can even keep the outside of the onion, grind them down, and make onion powder. I mean, there's countless ways to not waste a single thing on any vegetable, on any piece of meat. It doesn't matter what it is, any ingredient. Let's see. Garlic clove. I did not cut my garlic, but guess what? All I do is just get a few cloves out of there. And I'm going to pop them right in. There's no need to mince them down, smash them. I kind of just add the whole entire garlic. Another little hack for garlic is that I like to freeze garlic cloves. Once they're already peeled, because it is a little tedious, I have garlic cloves in the freezer. Why didn't I think of this before? Throw that right in, maybe 3 or 4. You can add 6 or 7. It really doesn't matter. The bay leaves. This is a brand new bay leaf container. I'm just going to add maybe 1 or 2. Nothing fancy. Those are something that you don't want to eat at the end. So I always strain everything out for the bone broth anyways. So it really doesn't matter what you throw in there. It's going to get strained out later. Let's see, my turmeric. One thing that I forgot to mention, I believe on the last video with all my ingredients, was ginger. I love ginger flavor. I don't know. It's just so good. I love that potent burn. I'm not going to add very much, so you're probably just going to get like a little subtle hint of ginger flavor. Pop that right in. Let's see. And then I got my salt. I'm just going to do a little sprinkle over here. Nothing crazy. And then my filtered water. We're going to add filtered water. Yes. Our whole house water filtration system uses this machine that filters the water. So even like our outside garden, even when we're taking a shower, everything in our house, our ice cubes, is going to be with the filtered water. So I'm a big water snob. I even got my son to be a little water snob too. So he's like, what kind of water are we drinking? So I'm going to just add that onto the top. And like I mentioned earlier, either lemon or a dash of apple cider vinegar. Who says that? I know there's like a famous chef who says a little dash will do ya. I don't know who it is. Anyways, it just came to my brain. So pop that lid right on. I like to simmer on low and slow. You guys can do high and fast if you want. I just feel the lower, the slower, the more time that goes into this, it's just going to be so much more savory and delicious, and just it's better low and slow. So that's just my opinion. Once again, do as you wish. So we're going to let this simmer pretty much all day, all night. Right now, my time is 10:30 a.m. So I think I'm going to go all the way until tomorrow morning. I'm going to give it almost 24 hours. Probably when I get up 7 o'clock, I'm going to check the broth and see how it goes. I'm going to give it a few stirs maybe tonight before bed, but that's it. That's basically it. So voila, your bone broth is complete. Just let it simmer all day, all night, and then tomorrow morning we'll check it again. How dare I forget the lemongrass that I just told you all the benefits about. So good. I just cut it open and it just smells, the aroma is just so good. It's so fresh. Like it just tastes like nature. It tastes like nature. It smells like nature. And so I'm going to put that into my bone broth. And even if you forget an ingredient, it really isn't a big deal. Sometimes I'll remember something later, and if it's not too late, I'll pop it right in. But that lemongrass, I'm just gonna give it a nice little stir. And there you go.